make sure really quick that this is working. There was like one time me and Juan were streaming. And we were talking for like 10 minutes. And we didn't realize that we were streaming. It looks like it's streaming. Okay, I also have music in the background. Let me know if you guys can like hear the music. Maybe you want to hear more of the music, so I'll turn up the volume. Maybe you want to hear more of the music over my anime opinions. Oh boy. So, Nimby says, first, I won. Welcome. Nico says, hello. Hello. Good morning, Elian. Good morning. So, I've been on the fence about putting my Anime of the Year award and, like, just in general, the Crunchyroll Anime Award opinions out there. Because I'm sure you all want to hear my amazing opinions on anime. Coming from the girl who likes Sword Art Online. But, Zenimation says hello. Hello. Nimby says, my birthday was last time, and you missed everything. I'm sorry. I wish you saved me some cake. How are y'all doing? We're doing good. So, I thought it'd be more interesting to stream this and, like, discuss it with people versus everyone just, like, watching me give my opinions on anime. Because I feel like if it's, like, I feel like everyone can make, like, good arguments for, like, the things they think should have won. I'm gonna probably talk about, what actually won Anime of the Year last, because I feel like everyone's, like, talked about that a lot. But yeah, let's get started. Let's see. Zanimation says, I'm really happy Dungeon Meshi got in the top 6, even if it didn't get much recognition outside of that. For real, that one was good. I thought it was interesting, like, I always think this, but Studio Trigger's art style is very versatile. Arnold, frankly, I'm just glad that there wasn't a community voting thing. But, I mean, yeah, I'm glad that, like, the ones that were picked, it didn't seem like, well, I don't know, it seemed like the ones that were, like, the nominees, were, like, based on what just a lot of people had saw that came out. And then there's, like, I'm not sure how much of that process is, like, dictated by, like, people in charge choosing what won versus, like, people who voted. I think it's, like, a 50-50. But, let's take a look at this. Alright, so, the anime of the film that won was Look Back. Personally, I haven't watched this yet. I've heard, like, really good things, though. The art looks, like, really unique and well done. I think the one I voted for was Spy Family Code White, because that was, like, the only one I watched. I'm not super surprised that this won, because I feel like most of the time the, like, anime films that stand out are, like, the slice of life movies as opposed to, like, just something that's a part of a continuing series. Though I feel like Jujutsu Kaisen, the movie, probably won when it came out, as well as, like, when the Demon Slayer movie came out, because that was pretty popular. But yeah, I've heard good things, so I feel like this is, like, pretty deserved, and I think slice of life is always interesting. Let's see. Global Impact Award. Attack on Titan. I'm not quite sure what... I guess this would be just, like, what's, like, the anime that's, like, been worldwide the most, like, influential. I think this, like, totally checks out, honestly. I think that, like, Attack on Titan is just one of those, like, shows where it's, like, it's wildly popular and wildly well written. And I think it took, like, a pretty long time for, like, everything to, like, wrap up and come out. But I think it was, like, it was really good and totally worth it. I think that it's definitely gonna be up there as, like, one of the best animes ever, I think, for sure. So, best continuing anime series. This was actually interesting. I voted My Hero Academia because I think to just, like, in terms of the manga, too, like, to do what Horikoshi's done, where it's, like, he's written this story that has been, like, some of people's, like, favorite anime for, like, I mean, what, like, over 10 years at this point. I think that it's a really well done superhero story because I think that he does this thing where he doesn't get rid of the tropes and try and make something new. He kind of expands on the tropes and takes inspiration from the tropes of superhero stories. I think that's why it's so successful, personally. So that's why, and after seeing the most recent season, I'm like, that was a really good season. So I definitely thought it was gonna win. My boyfriend said One Piece because I guess One Piece usually wins. Demon Slayer, I'm not super surprised that this won, and I'm not disappointed. Like, I think that Demon Slayer is really good. I think some people didn't like the training arc. I liked it. Would I say it's the best arc in Demon Slayer? I don't think it's the best arc. In my opinion, I still think, like, the Mugen Train arc and then the, probably the Entertainment District arc is really good. I also really like the Swordsmith Village one. But yeah, I guess for best continuing anime series, I'd say this, like, totally checks out and it makes sense. Especially since, the final, or I think they're gonna split the movies into 3 parts, but yeah, the movies are coming out. Let's see. I missed your stream so much. I know, Affable Sweetness, I'm sorry. Look Back is a movie where if you are creative in any way at all, it will hit your soul. Oh, I definitely should watch it. Let's see. Me too, dude. You should do it more often, but does not, then that's okay. I'm sorry. I gotta commit more. I just finished reading Sayonara Eri, and it was so good. Oh, cool. But yeah, I'm sorry for not streaming, guys. I promise. I promise. It's not... I would stream more if I had the option, but I've been doing my job. Well, this is also kind of my job as well, or it's one of which... It's... we're not there quite yet where it's, like, sustainable enough, but I hope to turn this YouTube channel into maybe where I can pay more attention to it. But yes, that's my opinion on, the best continuing anime series. It's fine, girl. Thank you. Best new anime series. Solo Leveling. Oh, wow. And this was so difficult, too, because it's like... I feel like in general, maybe some people have talked about this. The animes this year, for like half the nominations, were just like super stacked in terms of like good. I think that that's a really hard thing to determine because it's like what makes it like the best new anime like series, and I'm assuming this is just like public vote. I think I did vote Solo Leveling for this just because, like, yeah, I really enjoy it and I think it's really fun. Out of all of these, it's really hard to say. I was a little disappointed that Kaiju number 8 didn't, like, win much. I think maybe Kaiju number 8 might have been a better choice choice for this particular category. I think it also just does a lot of unique things while playing on, like, old tropes. Like, I mean, obviously the kind of just, like, fighting monsters kind of trope, but I think there's something nice about seeing a character who's, like, older. Though solo leveling, the same thing could kind of be said about that. Like, I think there's something interesting about, it's like this very shoujo-ish kind of story, but it's like the dude's like 24 and like that's like a little relatable. Delicious in Dungeon, I was surprised maybe didn't win this category. Like, that one was like really good. And I definitely think in terms of like new anime series, it's like, it's just very unique. It's very well done. Again, Studio Trigger is like great at executing these like really fun, intense things to watch, but sometimes like satirical. I'm always in awe of that. So yeah, like, I don't think this was gonna be like this makes sense to me. But maybe for this particular category, something like Delicious in Dungeon or Kaiju number 8 would have made more sense. But yeah. Let's see. I got Solo Leveling graphic novel. Oh man, I've been thinking about reading the graphic novel, but I don't want to get spoiled. As a solo leveling enjoyer myself, I must say that should not have won. Well, we'll get there. But for Best New Anime Series, it won. Best Original Anime. I honestly don't think I don't know if I watched any of the original animes. Yeah. I think, like, so I'd love to hear people's opinions about this one. But yeah. So just, like, hit me up with whatever info you guys got on this one. Let's see. Best Animation, Demon Slayer, the Hashira Training Arc. So, this is interesting, I think, because I definitely expected Solo Leveling to win, and that's why I voted for it, because within Season 1, like, for this we're just looking at Season 1 alone. Within Season 1, there were a lot of, like, really well done fights. I think everyone agrees the fight with Igris towards the end was just, like, amazing. And I think what was amazing to me about it is, like, watching Sword Art Online and seeing A1's, like, progress with things, like how their art style has adapted, like how they've changed certain things, and they've gotten to this place where I'm like, wow, this animation is, like, truly on par with, like, Ufotable's animation. But a lot of their scenes, even Alicization in the movies, they're just, like, so short and they're so condensed, and, like, the fight scenes are well done, but they're only, like, a minute tops. The fight with Igris was, like, well done, and collectively it was, like, 9 minutes. And then on top of that, they got, like, just a million other, like, fights that are, like, 5 minutes or more. I think that, and they totally one-up themselves in Season 2, but again, we're looking at just Season 1. So, I thought it was gonna win, for sure. It'll probably win next year. We'll see. The movie of Demon Slayer is coming out this year, so maybe not. Well, but it's a movie. I think that, however, Ufotable probably wins for efficiency reasons. Obviously, in animation, there's always going to be, like, a deadline. there's always gonna be, like, people have to, like, work their butts off to, like, come up with just good animation within a certain time frame. I can't even imagine how difficult that is. Even being in, like, something that's an animation project this year, I'm like, wow, this is a lot of work, and I'm impressed with just even my director coming up with, like, a storyboard. But I don't know, like, the employees don't seem as, like, overworked, I think, as some studios. Like, I think that, so that's quite an achievement. Maybe that was being taken into account. I think most of the good animation takes place, like, in the last episode of the series. And thinking about just the scene of, like, the explosion, which was more like 3D animation visual effects, that was really well done. And then there was, like, a little bit of a fight towards the end. That was really cool. Like, yeah. I think I'm surprised this one. I'm not super disappointed. Dandadan and Delicious in Dungeon had really good animation too, but in a very different way. Like, well, I don't know, Dandadan's is, like, pretty, like, fluid. It's also just a very unique art style. Frieren, let's see. Someone's telling me about Ninja Kamui. I have heard that it's rough, yeah. But I'd have to see it. Viving Viper says, I'll be going, bye y'all. Goodbye. Sorry for my ramblings. No, the ramblings are welcome. Frieren, I think the art style is beautiful. I do like the fights in Frieren. I think, the goal of it is obviously it's more focused on the style than the fluidness. It does have some pretty awesome moments, like I think the moment where, like, Stark fights the dragon, that's, like, really well animated. Probably not quite in comparison though to Solo Leveling or Demon Slayer. Kaiju number 8 was good. And a lot of the fights were actually really well done, but yeah, they weren't quite as, like, grand, I don't think, to the extent that Solo Leveling was. Or even Demon Slayer, with what little it had. Alright. Best character design, winner, Dandadan. I agree with this decision. I'm trying to remember what I voted for. I remembered. I voted for Frieren. I like that it was very, like, you know, like, the characters are all bright and colorful. Like, Fern has purple hair, Frieren has, like, these, like, green eyes and this white hair. And, like, Stark has this very, like, kind of shonen or fantasy protagonist looking hair. But I also liked that it was kind of tied to this sort of, like, world building that feels a little, like, I want to say maybe, like, Celtic inspired or German inspired. I really liked it. That was the one I was hoping would win. After watching Dandadan, I'm not disappointed or surprised that the character designs won this one. I think they're, like, really unique and cool and interesting. I think this show is, like, it's the type of show where it's there a little bit with, I think, like, Kill la Kill or Cyberpunk Edgerunners, just in terms of, like, I've listed 2 Studio Trigger animes, but this one was made by Science Saru. But I do think it deserves this category. I think all the art styles and the art style and the character designs are, like, really unique and kind of fun. But yeah. Let's see what you guys say. I was just basing this off of, again, what seemed like the result to me. I don't super know about these directors, like, directing styles, or, like, what makes for... Well, I know, based on learning certain things, what makes for a good director. I just don't know what their directing styles were like in particular. Or what's the best director in, like, animation. I just vote the director of Demon Slayer because, again, it seems like they go at their own pace and no one's overworked. But the director of Free Run won, and so I do think this was a really well executed anime, which probably takes a really good director. So, yeah, I think that checks out. Best background art. I also voted for Free Run. I mean, yeah, like, just scenically, it's beautiful. Like, and so much of Free Run is just, like, scenery. It's these wide shots of, like, landscape and everything. Yeah, and yet it still, like, fits within this art style they've, like, set for this anime. I think this was actually made by Madhouse, who made One Punch Man. Correct me if I'm wrong. That makes sense to me. I remember booting up Cyberpunk 2077 just to kill Adam Smasher again after watching the anime's ending. Oh man, that ending. Cyberpunk is so good, but it makes me a little depressed. Yeah, I think it totally deserves this category. I think Delicious in Dungeon has a great art style. In terms of background art, I think most of the time it's pretty simple. I'd have to think of, like, specific scenes. Let's see. Pluto. I actually didn't watch that. Don Da Don. It's also very stylistic. I don't think it necessarily beats Free Run, though. Like, again, Free Run's is just so beautiful. Demon Slayer's is impressive. I think it's a mixture between, like, 3D and 2D a lot of the time. But yeah, I still think Free Run deserved to win this. Apothecary Diaries. Also a really colorful art style. But in terms of background art, I think, yeah, like, Free Run sticks out the most to me. Alright. Best romance anime. I don't think I watched many of these this year. And I'm having a hard time remembering my vote for too. I'm sorry, everyone. Blue Box one. I have heard good things about this one. I don't think Scott Pilgrim was necessarily gonna win. Because, like... Well, I guess it depends. Like... Sorry, checking the chat. I want to keep you guys involved. I mean, yeah, like, Scott Pilgrim winning romance anime, like, the majority of the purpose of the story is, like, the relationships aren't healthy in that show. I don't know if that's what anyone takes into consideration, though. Like, I feel like for me, if I was being like, what's the best romance anime? I mean, I would be like, what's the anime with, like, the healthiest romantic relationships? But I think this was probably based mostly on what was the one that was, like, most entertaining and most well written. The relationship, I don't know if it's healthy or not, but yeah, that's what I'm gathering. Best comedy anime. Mashle, Magic and Muscles. I actually just watched this with one. And I gotta say, I think Delicious in Dungeon should have won this. I do think Mashle is funny in a very, like, One Punch Man kind of way. Like, it's very satirical. And it is entertaining, and it is well done. I just think Delicious in Dungeon, I like the comedy in that one a lot more because it's like, again, this is like more satirical comedy. Juan knows of my opinions on satire. When I watch satire, which probably means satire isn't for me, sometimes I feel like I want the satire to be more serious. Like, watching One Punch Man is good. And One Punch Man is, like, really well done, and obviously the point of it is a dude who just, like, beats everyone with one punch. He kind of has, like, depression because of it. And I'm so lame. Because when I was watching One Punch Man, I think I actually enjoyed the arcs more surrounding characters who aren't Saitama, just because it's a little more unpredictable. Like, all the stuff with Garo, I enjoyed watching. But similarly, looking at this show, it's not quite to that level. Like, MASH doesn't just, like, win fights immediately. But I feel like he's very much guaranteed to win fights. And I think I wish for, like, more tension sometimes. But that's not really the purpose of this story. I think Delicious in Dungeon should have won because, like, Studio Trigger, there's just something unique about Studio Trigger where they balance out, like, satire really well. Like, again, Kill la Kill is, like, I think that's a show that, like, delivers on what I'm talking about, where I'm like, Kill la Kill is super satirical. It's like this ridiculous plotline with these ridiculous characters, and yet the story gets you, like, so invested, and there's, like, intense moments. And they do a similar thing in Delicious in Dungeon. Like, there's there's very comedic moments, like the scene. Well, there's so many scenes in the show that I like. Like, I like the scene where Marcel tries to, like, get they have those plants in, like, Harry Potter. The, like, screeching plants, like, I think that's really funny. I like the scene where Laios tries to, like, pet, like, the cat person's hair, and then they just, like, swipe his hand. He's just, like, looking at it. Like, that's really funny to me. Something about that animation. And then, like, when they wear the frog-made suits, the voice actors do a really wonderful job. I just think in terms of, like, comedy, that one's definitely up there for me. Let's see. I'm surprised that Demon Slayer won Best Animation. Not that it wasn't good, but the arc outside the last episode had less high production compared to previous seasons when other shows were packed. Yeah, for sure. Again, I feel like ultimately it probably mostly won just because it wins, like, every year, when it is a thing. But in terms of comedy anime, Mashal and Delicious in Dungeon are also, like, fantasy action. I'm sure, like, My Dear Friend Nokotan is more in line with just, like, pure comedy. So maybe based on that, that should have won, but yeah. I think Delicious in Dungeon should have won, but that's just my opinion. Let's see. Best action anime. Solo Leveling. I do think this deserved to win. As far as, like, best action anime, super good. Like, the action is amazing in this show. Like, and just the tense moments, and, like, there's definitely gonna be more to come about this, but, like, I think Alex Lee, who was the dub voice actor for Genu, he just, like, sells those intense moments really well. And yeah, the, like, fight with Egress just lives rent-free in my head. I think my second favorite fight to that one in season 1 Oh, I definitely liked when he fought, like, there was, like, the blue, or the steel-fanged, Kazuka. I think that's, like, the snake. That was just a really cool moment. It was really epic. I think what also makes it entertaining is it executes really well in action when it's doing, where it's like, yeah, he can get stronger. He can get stronger than other people. He's also still gonna get, like, his ass kicked half the time. And that's what makes it entertaining. Because, like, it's like, you feel the tension. And, like, I think that that's what it does really wonderfully. And that should be in action anime. Like, in an action anime, you need to feel the tension to feel connected to it. Kaiju number 8 is so good. And it's just sad to me that, like, it wasn't gonna win any of these categories. Like, because it's just, like, it's a recency thing, but also just in comparison to other ones, I don't think it was gonna win. But yeah. Best Isekai Anime. Re:Zero. Starting Life in Another World, Season 3. I'm not biased at all by my poster back there, but I love Re:Zero. I think Season 3 totally deserved to win this category. I have a lot of opinions on Re:Zero, on why I like it. I think that it's both one where it's like, I think people recognize it's really good, because it differs from isekai. And some people, obviously this is their opinion, but some people line it up with, like, a lot of isekai just in tropes and things, and they're like, oh, it's just another isekai and everything. Where it's like relationships and girls like him. And I'm like, but I think this story is so important and well done because the whole story revolves around these themes of, like, self-love, but also self-growth. And also that self-growth in order to have, like, healthy relationships with people. Like, where Subaru is at now with Amelia is, like, so much better than where, like, the show started out. But that's, like, the point, because he has to, like, grow and realize that, like, he can't just have this love for Amelia that turns into obsession due to his own, like, insecurity and his desire to be seen by people. And I like that balances out the theme where it's like, again, like, you have problems as a person. And if you want healthy relationships with people, you need to work through those problems. But that doesn't make you unworthy of love because you have those issues. I think it's, like, really well done. And I think also, yeah, like, in terms of, furthermore with that, just the whole arc with Amelia, where she's, like, helping, all of the women from, like, the white-haired dude who, like, is representing greed. Like, I think that that arc was even more important in just clarifying that, of just how, like, of her individuality and how she, like, she hopes she'll fall in love with Subaru. She doesn't know if she's, like, quite there yet. But she stands firm on this ground where she's like, love is something where it has to be this agreement between two people, and you have to, like, work at it, and, like, and obviously the fact where it's like she doesn't like, I don't know, like, I like that whole sequence where he's like, it's because he's basically like, it's because of that other dude, isn't it, in the tracksuit. And she's like, no, it's because this is an individual choice of mine, and I don't think what you're doing, like, I don't think this is love. I think that's really well done. And yeah, in terms of, like, isekai, like, the action was so good in this season, like, the whole fight with, like, Garfield. And the storyline always keeps me, like, invested and entertained and, like, surprised. I think Subaru is like an amazing main character. Mushoku Tensei Season 2 is up here. I didn't watch Season 2. I watched Season 1. I think there are some really great world building and writing aspects about it, but I don't think it's like super great. Because it's almost like the anti-ReZero, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. Where it's like, Mushoku Tensei is like, if your life sucks and you get transported to a fantasy world, like, people will like you there instead. And you don't really have to, like, maybe there's some development in Rudius's part of just, like, going out into the world more. But I don't really think that's not, like, his main issue. His main problematic issue, like, you know, which is obviously how he views women, and also the bizarre, like, age gap stuff. I think that's, like, yeah, that's creepy. Again, I think we can all agree that that's, like, our least favorite aspect of the show. And in other senses, obviously, like, it is, like, well done, but the development just isn't in the place it needs to be for, like, his character. And I think, again, like, ReZero is almost the anti of that story. Because, again, Mushoku Tensei is like, you need to find people who will, like you for you. And it's like, well, what if maybe there are certain, like, problematic things about yourself, like, that are a little valid in terms of what you need to fix? And ReZero is like, you need to work on yourself and have more self-worth. And your self-worth isn't determined by other people liking you. But you should be willing to grow as a person, and that's my tangent. Sorry, that was so long. I love ReZero, though. I'm more of a kaiju number 7 kind of guy. Oh, I'm a kaiju number 6 kind of gal. Why isn't that up here? Best drama anime was Frieren. I voted Oshinoko because in terms of, again, just like what's like purely drama, Oshinoko is like purely drama for the most part. There's a bit of an isekai type element, but yeah, it's mostly drama. I think it makes sense that Frieren won. But I don't think Frieren's just purely drama. It's like fantasy, it's action. But it does have a lot of very intricate themes, just in terms of like discussing like life and death and eternity and connection with people. So yeah, I think that win is valid. Best slice of life anime, and I can't remember what I voted for. I didn't watch too many of these. I didn't watch this one for sure, so I'd have to hear your guys' opinion. Alright, best main character, Ginu, Solo Leveling. This is what's hard too, because it's like, all of these characters are so differing. Maybe this should have gone to Frieren. I think that Frieren is just like a very unique type of character. Well, I think some people even compare like Mao Mao and Frieren. Oh no, we're getting into my opinions. I usually don't have a whole lot of like super controversial strong opinions. This might be the most political I'm gonna get on this. I think Mao Mao and Frieren are similar characters. I like Frieren better. The reason why I like Frieren better, that maybe I don't super like Apothecary Diaries, and to be fair, I have to keep watching Apothecary Diaries. I have to see where the story's going and where it finishes. When I see stories with women as the main characters, and there is a woman who is strong and intelligent and like well composed and I love seeing characters like that too, because I'm not the smartest person and I'm not super always in control of my feelings, so I like seeing characters that are different from me and just more confident in themselves and like more intellectual or logical. Though Frieren and Mao Mao both have their goofy aspects. But despite that they're somewhat similar characters, I think Frieren is better because when I see female characters who are written like that, I'm like, is this story saying that there are like women out there like this who are very unique and intricate individuals and they're well written? Or is this a story saying that this female character is the exception to women? This is just my opinion. I think in Apothecary Diaries, sometimes Mao Mao does feel like it's saying, because she's into poisons and stuff, she is like the exception to other women. And like more intellectual than other women. Again, this is just my opinion, this is my perception, and I have to finish the series. But, because in Frieren, and this is where it comes into play with an interesting thing, because they are vastly different stories. Apothecary Diaries' story is more focused on themes of like gender and whatnot. But that being said, I don't always feel that it executes that super well. Because it seems like in this story, where it's talking about just the themes of like women being under threat, of like prostitution in, I think it's Imperial China is where it takes place. Like, I don't know, just the fact that like most of the characters that it tries to make us like dislike mostly is like some MILF type character who's like, this small girl looks prettier than me. I'm jealous. Like, I don't know, like, I just don't think that type of story is necessarily a win for women in writing, because again, it's like, Mao Mao's a wonderful character, but I feel like it depicts all of these other women in the story as either just like bimbos or petty, and like not all of them, but that's why I don't think that's like good. No, that's why it comes into play of why I think Frieren is good, because I think in Frieren, like, Frieren's just herself, and Fern's just herself, and all of the other women are just themselves, and they're all just varying in, like, personality and mannerisms. And I like that, because I think it is saying and showcasing a truth where it's like, yeah, everyone's super different. And I like how Frieren's, like, nonchalantness isn't, like, Frieren isn't like that because she's, like, different from other women. Frieren's like that because she's, like, different from other people, because she's lived such a long life. But also, there's, like, a relatability to it for some people who maybe feel like they're just, like, going through life and, like, they don't get super attached to certain things, but maybe have some regrets surrounding that. But yeah. that's my soapbox moment. Let's see. I mean, like, I feel like best main character is kind of misleading, mainly because a lot of different factors go together for a best main character. Oh, for sure. And with Genu, like, by the way, how hypocritical of me. I did vote for Genu, because I think he's just an entertaining character to see. And the characters that people consider the best characters are ones they find, like, the most relatable. I just always, without fail, feel a connection to, like, these very underdog-type stories, where characters are trying their hardest and they're, like, trying their best. And I feel like his motivation is just very relatable, I think, to some extent, where I'm at in life, where he's, like, you know, because you have, like, shonen protagonist who's like, I want to do this to save the world and save my friends and become the best hero. And obviously that's relatable for some people, but I'm like, I need to buy groceries. And that's kind of where Jinu's at a bit. And obviously he's, like, noble in his own way, where like, he wants to help his mom and his sister and whatnot. But I like that too, because it's this nobleness that is idealistic, is something to strive for. But it's also very realistic in the sense where I think for the most part, we all want to do our part to help the people we care about. And yeah. And just watching him and watching his character development. And also sometimes for me, not being sure where his character development is gonna go. Because it's like, this could either be a story where because of his strength, he maybe turns into a very morally questionable person who's just controlled by that desire to be stronger than other people. Or he can use that strength to help other people the way that some people didn't help him. And so that conflict, I really liked seeing that internal conflict. Yeah, all of these other characters are great, but I do think Frieren should have probably won this category. Let's see. Farewell. Although from what I've seen, people voting for Jinu because he's the coolest. For sure, he's also the coolest. Okay. Best supporting character, Fern. I voted for Fern. Juan voted for Senshi because he thinks, like, Senshi's cool. I think Senshi is also cool. But yeah, Fern's just, like, I do think in the relatability factor, watching Fern's journey as a character, I'm like, oh, I like how it's, like, relatable, and she's a very awkward kind of teenager. And, like, she's more sure in herself, but sometimes is also her like, thing that she needs to work on is, like, feeling that she can open herself up more to people. And, like, I think that's something that we all experience when we're around, like, that age. And just her dynamic with Frieren is really wonderful. Must protect at all costs. I wasn't surprised. Anya wins every year, because Anya's just, like, adorable and fun and goofy. Juan really wants Senshi to win. And I think that's valid too. Like, Senshi's so, like, wholesome. Bro comes in clutch with, like, the snacks the whole show. So yeah. Best anime song? This is the opening, right? I think it's the opening. I do like this opening. I actually voted for Abyss for this one. Because I love that one. Like, it's, I don't know, it's just, like, really epic. And it kind of has that, like, alternative cinematic style I like. But yeah. I also like Level. I've learned how to sing it. Whether I'm good at it is a totally different question. In my heart, I'm like, Abyss should have won. But ultimately, this probably deserved to win. Because in terms of musical choices, as a music teacher looking at this too, it just made these really bold and interesting choices where the song's a little unpredictable, and yet it's, like, really, like, catchy. It fits the vibe of the show very well, so I think this makes sense. Let's see. Boo, says Shaw the Pretty. Thanks for the awesome stream. Yeah, of course. Best anime score. I get to talk about this as a music teacher. This makes me so happy. Oh my gosh. I love Hiroyuki Sawano's music. I love it. Like, this man is like just like the Japanese Hans Zimmer. Like, his music is amazing. And it has this balance where it's like he has these very clear themes. And yet the music isn't like too like literal, and it just, oh my gosh, like, in watching even just like some of the like music videos he's made for his scores, it's like he's doing all of this with like a quarter of the amount that someone would have in like an orchestra, and yet it sounds like just as grand and just as epic, which also probably goes into some of his like editing skills as well, and his team's editing skills. But yeah, he deserved to win this category. Like, his score is amazing. I love Yuki Kajiura too. I do think the Demon Slayer Training Arc soundtrack was good, but obviously this is a collaboration between Yuki Kajiura and Go Shiina. I don't know if I pronounced his name right, but Yuki Kajiura, I feel like, has definitely done certain soundtracks where, like, I like this one much better. Like Fate, Stay Night, Heaven's Feel, Sword Art Online, Madoka Magica. She's amazing. And she's probably actually, like, Hiroyuki and Sawano and her are both up there for my favorite composers. She's probably a little higher just because I like how Celtic-inspired her music usually is. But I do think Hiroyuki Sawano deserved to win this year. Evan Call is amazing and surprised me with, just because Violet Evergarden is this very, like, it feels very like a BBC show type of soundtrack, in a good way, obviously. Like, it's very, like, Violet Evergarden is like Anne of Green Gables, but like with war. And I was surprised that he could just pull out this also like fantasy inspired and somewhat like Celtic inspired type of music. But and Zoltrak is a great soundtrack. I think the song is like Time Goes Onward or something. I love that song. I'm learning how to play it on my violin. But yeah, I just think against Hiroyuki Sawano's gonna win every time. But yeah, I think my favorite songs, I'll clarify too, my favorite songs in solo leveling that Hiroyuki Sawano wrote is, he has like the symphonic suites. I like the symphonic like level 1 suite. I think it's either level 2 or 3. That's my second favorite. And obviously when he writes the vocal songs, they're amazing. But weirdly enough, I feel like my favorite songs of his are the like instrumental soundtrack songs. So yeah, totally deserved that win. Ashley says hi. Hi. Sorry, I did not notice. I've not been looking at the chat. Welcome to the stream. Okay. Best anime opening sequence. Also Dandadan. Yeah, artistically, I think that checks out. It should have won. I think I still wanted Abyss to win. Though I think for artistically for this one, I don't know, I kind of like solo leveling season 1's opening. But this one deserved to win. I agree with that. Best anime ending sequence. I voted Nobody by One Republic because I like it, because it's a fun song, it's a cute song, and the ending sequence is cute. But wasn't gonna win. Solo Leveling's ending sequence was very like backroomsy. Which also there's like 3D animation incorporated into that really well. And I think it's really good. But I just like Nobody much better. I also learned how to play it on guitar. Okay. Best anime voice artist. Japanese performance. Aoyuki as Mao Mao. This is who I voted for too, and yes, I agreed with this. I think she should have 100% won. It was just very well done. The voice acting for Mao Mao in the Japanese. I didn't watch too many of these in Japanese, honestly. Like, I'm biased. I really like dubs as a voice actress. But yeah, this was deserved. I don't think I'll give my opinions on these ones just because I didn't super know about them or vote them, but like, I'm assuming they did like well. I'm surprised, like pleasantly surprised, that yeah, like the best voiceover artists have been like whoever's been voicing Genu in several languages. This one I can talk about. There were so many good ones in here too. Oh my gosh, like, and that's the thing, because the voice actress for Frieren, if she had just been in like another year, like the year before or the next year, I truly feel that she would have won. But Alex Lee, like, actually both her and Alex Lee kind of, in a way, but in very different ways. And that's the thing, like, in voice acting, despite that's probably, I don't want to say easier, but like, subtlety is hard. Anger and sadness is like, you can really get into that because it's a strong emotion. But they both did well at the subtle emotions. But Alex Lee has just set this whole new bar for what good voice acting is, because he just like puts so much like power behind Genu's voice, but he's also able to just sell like the natural moments really well. And this is like, surprisingly, he's played like a lot of side characters before this. This character was just so perfect for his voice, for his vocal texture, and for him to even experiment with that a bit. Like, he is amazing as Genu. Watching Solo Leveling and watching his performance, I'm like, it makes me want to work like 80 times harder at what I do to get that good. Like, it is insane. Like, I am telling you, as a voice actress, what he pulled off is crazy. But yeah. I'm just going off like, you don't understand how good this is. French, Kafka. German, Luffy. And then Gojo in Hindi. This character in Look Back in Italian. Eren Yeager in Latin Spanish. Awesome. Okay. Here's the moment that everyone's been waiting for. I'm gonna talk about Anime of the Year. And Solo Leveling winning. What makes Anime of the Year seems like a really hard question to answer. Now, some people have the very strong opinion that, and it's a valid opinion, that Frieren should have won and Solo Leveling shouldn't have won. The mistake I think they make, though, which I'm also like, maybe this is why it won Anime of the Year, is like, they're like, Frieren's just like so much deeper and more intricate, and Solo Leveling's not intricate, and like Solo Leveling doesn't even deserve to be here. Like, why'd it win at all? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. Like, it only had like one of the most amazing composers writing the soundtrack. It only had like, again, some of the best voice acting ever that set a whole new bar for the quality of voice acting from Alex Lee. Like, it only had amazing animation from A1 Studios. Like, it only had like a compelling and interesting story that just keeps you on edge and keeps you in your seat. But as I've stated before, Solo Leveling and Frieren, the comparison is apples and oranges. It's like, which one's better? It's a Wonderful Life or Iron Man? It's like, well, both of those are wonderful movies, but they're very, like, different, and that's why it's hard to determine, like, what is anime of the year. If anime of the year is popularity vote, I can see this winning. But again, I can also see this winning in just the concept of it was extremely entertaining and well done at the things it was good at, which is, like, making, again, entertainment, making you feel the tension, making you feel invested. Frieren has that too. I will say this though, like, in terms of, like, introspectiveness, I don't think Solo Leveling's, like, has a lack of depth. Like, there's clearly these themes there about, like, becoming stronger but not letting it consume you to where you become, like, the people who, like, hurt you. Themes of, like, family. Frieren is probably just a lot more introspective. Like, there's a lot more you have to look at and, like, really, like, you keep thinking about it over and over again. But I will say it's not for everyone. I had, like, 2 people who I knew, like, watched a little bit of Frieren. Both of them just weren't that invested in it because it wasn't, like, the kind of story they liked. And one of them said something interesting to me where I'm like, I can see why maybe that some people didn't vote for Anime of the Year. Because this person said to me the reason why they didn't like Frieren was because it kind of felt like watching a D&D campaign. I think that's a part of what makes it interesting, because it's just all of these, like, little character moments that are building to, like, the overarching theme of, like, again, like, eternity, life, death, love. Like, it's like reading a chapter book. Like, I think it was really well done. But this person didn't like the show because instead of having this, like, very clear thing of, like, point A, point B, point C in a storyline, like how Solo Leveling works, and because it felt a little, like, D&D-ish to them, they just didn't like it. And I disagree. I think that's one of the things that makes the story wonderful, but I can respect that opinion. I think Solo Leveling winning is dependent on what the criteria is for Anime of the Year. If it's the most well-written, Frieren should probably win, but again, that gets tricky, because it's like, what is the purpose of the story? And how well executed is that purpose within the story? But if it's mostly just, like, what was the most entertaining? What were most people watching? What did most people like? It's Solo Leveling. But yeah, so that's that's my opinions. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed hearing my opinions. I love cool live streams, says Robert. Thank you. I'd love to hear, again, just, like, I mean, leave comments even if you missed this stream, and I'll look over them, because I'd love to hear all your guys' opinions. I definitely had a couple of